what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a couple things about the stretcher, how we get it on there, and after we're going to work our way from the front to back. Quick, easy tour, all right? So these stretchers are rated for about 700 pounds, all right? Anything north of that, which has happened before, we have a specialty medic at Central Station, which handles anything over that. Now there are like Plano and Richardson, some surrounding cities, they don't have that type of apparatus. So sometimes if they get one of those calls, they'll call us out to go staff it. It's just a wider stretcher.
Was that the M1 at the Central?
There's a separate one in the back. Behind, yes, it's actually this station. Yes, sir. So these stretchers, it's not like the old school horror movie stretchers that you see people loading into the ambulance. This is all automated. A lot of complaints people had in the past was, oh, my back hurts, or my neck hurts, because I'm having to lift a 300-pound person up and hold them up there while trying to get them in the ear. This takes care of a lot of that. Now you ask, if it takes a dump, what do I do? Well, then we got to go back to the old school way. Then we have to lift them up and maybe hurt our backs. But this handles all the work for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you how this works. Let's say we get our patient up on here onto our stretcher. The hardest part is getting the football through the goalpost. Everything else takes care of itself. So the person in front is going to be doing all the navigating to this little scoop over here by the stretcher. Right through the middle, lower it down. And then you see the two green lights on the side. Once they're both green, good. Hold down this button right here. Boom goes the 911. Up. I'm in. Now I got them back. Close the doors. We can start working. Pretty easy, right? So a lot of retirement. The city of Frisco has a lot of retirement. A lot of things popping up here that actually have really tight elevators. You can maneuver that stretcher and compress it to where it doesn't affect the comfort of the patient, to where we can get in and out of it safely. And where we can get a lot of people in the elevator. So it's very maneuverable too. So let's go to the front. That computer navigates us to the calls, gives us dispatch notes from dispatch as they're typing, as they're figuring out what's going on. There's a radio right in there that we communicate with them too. You're asking, well, does the computer fail sometimes? Yeah, technology. Sometimes it stops working. But now we all have this. Google Maps is a beautiful thing. So if we ever have our phones out, I promise you it's because we're not on Facebook or whatever. We're trying to figure out where we're going. So that's where that is. It's a good fail safe. We don't use map books anymore, even though we have it. Most of them are outdated. Everything's going electronic. So this seat is actually really stressful to ride because you're navigating your driver to get you there. You're thinking about what you want to do with this patient when you get there, what roles and responsibilities you're going to delegate. You're thinking about where am I going to go with this patient. You're thinking about intervention. It's a lot to play in your mind. I'm taking care of you. You called me. I got to fix it. So this guy's got a big responsibility. The more medics you have on scene, like Chief was talking about, it takes away a lot of that stress. You got a lot of different perspectives, ideas. Hey, could you consider this? So let's do this. Give me 4 people to hop up in here with me. Let's be all go to the back. There's ever 4. So you guys can
Do what? Hop in.
Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, sir.
One is silent, one is in the back.
Yes, sir. You got it. Oh, wait, yeah. You can see whatever you want. Just shoot by your And then after, we'll let the ladies stay in here first, with the exception of the gentlemen as well. Come in here after. All right. So tight space, right? This is not our front line either. This is an old model ambulance, but everything is in similar places. Our newer models are a little bit nicer, they're a little bit bigger, but everything, like I said, you'll find in the same place. Just consistency is important when you're riding an ambulance, especially if you swing out to different stations. I'm on a different medic today that I'm normally stationed at, but I know where to go. That's important. So as you can see, it's tight right back here, right? It's easy if you get a basic medical call. You asked me a question like, who's usually back here? If it's a basic medical call or I feel good with it as the lead, that I don't need other people here, it's always one medic in the back with the patient, one driver. But if it's a CPR and you need more help, you try to take care of all of your interventions before you get going to the hospital, and then you usually take 2 back here, 1 driver. So it's really just 1 addition, because you don't have a lot of room to have a lot of people. But when there's, let's say we do have a CPR, and we're starting everything back here, you can already see I got a lot of people and not a lot of room. There's a lot of leaning, sometimes there's some sweating, sometimes hopefully not on the patient, but I can guarantee that hasn't happened before. So there's not a lot of room to maneuver. So the officer that's riding the truck or the engine, or the medic in charge who's leading that call, it's important for them to delegate responsibility and put people in the right seats. So for example, if we have a CPR and I say, hey, you have airway, all of your airway stuff is up there. If I say you're on trauma and meds, everything trauma and med is right here. If I say, young lady, you have IVs, bingo. If I say, I need you to give me some fluids, look up to your right. So knowing where your stuff is and having that consistency, if it's a big call, I put you in the right spot. So that way you're not having to lean, twist, turn. Oh, I forgot where that was. I think it's over there, and you're fumbling through the stuff, because there's a lot of stuff in each compartment. But
is this just for like tying up?
exactly.
Like
so that's for the
IVs?
IV bags. So this is an older model. They're similar. So you just open these Velcros up, put the bag right there, and pinches it, ties it off, and it will fall right. But at a minimum, so if you call 911, at a minimum what we carry is the stretcher in somebody's house every call. We have a life pack on there that's out there that Chief talked to you about too, that does the basic vital signs, blood pressure. Y'all know the pulse ox that goes on your finger, checks your oxygen. It's got a couple other things on it with the defibrillator. We've got our med bag, so that black bag, actually move that to your right just a little bit over here. A little heavy, huh? So yeah, so that black bag right there, and that other black bag carries every single thing that you see.
Wow.
Bags. So think about it. If I go to a call at the mall and I parked by Dave & Buster's, but the call came out of Dick's Sporting Goods on the other side of the mall, I need to have everything I need with me, right? So that's where that comes in handy. Or for whatever reason, somebody went down in somebody's house, I got to do CPR, I can just look to my right and everything that I need is right there. Instead of you having to run back and forth, it just expedites the process and makes everything a lot easier on your guys and girls inside.
So there's a defibrillator in there?
So our life pack defibrillates.
Okay.
So it defibrillates in 360 joules, that's the max, that's the standard shock for an adult.
Okay.
Pediatric, a little bit different. There's a little bit of math and conversion for it, but essentially that's an AED with a lot of other cool things on it.
Okay. Cool.
Y'all have any questions about any of this?